All right, Matty, welcome back to the Ask Matty Show. Banger show today. Uphold, cryptos, token allocation, all in this show. But Matty, how are you doing?
I'm doing excellent. I had a really nice weekend. Back in the grind on Monday as usual. Excited to talk about crypto.
Matty, we're going to have a great show today. But first, team, become a CryptoCharge member. We are from CryptoCharge. Our website is cryptocharge.com. Crypto education is our prerogative, and you can click the link in the pinned comment below. It'll take you to our website, crypto tools, daily shows, all that over there. Check us out there. And below the that website, you can click our shop link and get some swag. But finally, team, just like one minuscule thing here, excuse me, I always mess up that word. Please subscribe to this YouTube channel greatly. We're growing fast right now, and you need to be a part of the community. We're on a good show streak right now, and just subscribe, and that greatly helps us. But today, we're going to get into all of your questions, hot takes, comments. But Matty, are you ready?
Let's do this thing, man.
So we got Johnny Bull. Uphold is just fine. Use it. Matty, we've been doing a lot of research, and exchanges have gone down in the past, and we've had to kind of change how we are formulating how to buy our cryptos. What is the current status with maybe, because like we used Uphold in the past for XRP, API3, Casper. What's your current status with using Uphold?
Sure. So when we talk about Uphold, from a solvency standpoint, from a reliability standpoint, I don't have any issues with Uphold. I did business with Uphold for many years, bought XRP on Uphold for a long time, especially when we didn't have as many options, right? Other than, eventually kind of skirting around buying stable coins, putting them on something like KuCoin, which is no longer an option for U.S. citizens at this very time. That may change again in the future. Once derivatives are open, once we have more clarity about what exchanges are, how they're able to operate, what kind of licenses they need to operate and protect consumers and still have access to liquidity. The main reason that I was really hammering an Uphold was at the time, I was buying a lot of my XRP there. I was a decent proponent for Casper, but they kept telling us that the Casper withdrawals were coming soon, right? And it's very important to me to be able to take custody of my assets, right? That was one of the main reasons I shit on Robinhood and eToro, especially when they were hot in the last bull run, because you didn't really own the tokens. If you can't take them anywhere, you can't stake them, you can't send them to somebody else. You technically only own the contract price, right? And for me, that's a deal breaker. That's a no-go. So I had to actually kind of advise my team. I'm like, hey, there's not really any near sight, approval from Uphold that they're going to be doing this. It was over 12 months that they said, oh, we're still working on it. But they kept listing new tokens and new tokens and new tokens, right? Meanwhile, other exchanges like KuCoin and Gate.io had no problem. The second they listed withdrawal, deposit, the whole shebang, right? And it's not like Casper has all of these, mechanisms behind. We're not telling you how to enable withdrawals, right? They are incentivized to help you and give you the tools, right? It was really more about, in my opinion, Uphold being stingy about it, wanting you to use their staking products, which again are no longer available to U.S. citizens right now, right? So that was reason number one why I was just like kind of anti-Uphold. They really didn't give a crap about the community at the time. Reason number two, why I urge people to use other platforms outside of Uphold. It comes down to their deposit fees. So let's clarify their deposit policy really quickly here. So if you make a deposit under $500, and it doesn't matter what it is. You could buy stable coins, you could, whatever. It doesn't matter what you're doing, right? Like you can buy the asset directly. If it's under $500, they're going to charge you 3.5%. And that does not include the trading fees. That is just for the quote unquote privilege of depositing on their exchange. Now, if you're that person, you go, it doesn't matter for me. I deposit $1,000 or $2,000 or $3,000 a month into Uphold. So I don't really care about that fee. Fine. Here's the other thing I want you guys to consider about Uphold. And again, if this is going to be the difference between you buying Casper regularly and not buying Casper regularly, I would still rather you guys use Uphold, right? And have that DCA tool there because it is pretty much the only exchange that you can DCA easily into without using a bot, like an external bot using APIs, is that there is going to be a pretty decent sized trading fee every single time you buy. So let's say you're buying a smaller amount. Let's say you're buying somewhere between like $5 and $20 a day worth of Casper. You can really see those fees eat away at your overall position, right? Because you're depositing, you're losing 3.5%, and then you're paying the fee on this plus the spread, right? Because the fee does not include the spread, guys. The fee is, hey, this is the cost that we're paying, or you're paying us to do the actual trading, plus the spread, right? Meaning that there is a buy side and a sell side, and the difference of that is what the automated market maker makes. So you're paying a deposit fee, you're paying a trade fee, and you're paying a spread. Now, the trade fee and the spreads are not unique to Uphold, but when you stack it up on top of all those other things, right, it really starts to eat away at it. So my recommendation is, specifically if you're going to use Casper, and really, again, no reason to do XRP there. You guys can do that right on Coinbase, right? You guys got all that opportunity right on Coinbase there. Really, Casper is like one of the only assets that I have to go digging for outside of my other assets that I have, is try to maybe reduce it to a weekly DCA versus a daily DCA, just so that you're not getting hit over the head so hard with those daily fees. But those are really my main concerns with Uphold. Again, you guys can use whatever exchange you want. If you guys are okay with those fees, fine. Just make sure you guys peel back and understand that a lot of these fees can kind of stack up and work against you. One last thing that I do not like about Uphold is their limits. Their limits are absolute garbage. And I've set limits previously in 2020 and 2021. Price will fall, like for example, XRP fell like 6 cents below my actual buy price, and it never filled, right? And I've had that multiple times happen to me. So I don't trust the limit-based ordering. The only way that I actually would trust Uphold is for their dollar cost averaging tools.
Nice, Matty. Hopefully we just get a Coinbase listing. This would help all of us out.
Right.
But simple here, team, is like, do you want to lose money or do you want to take that money and invest more into Casper? That's really what it is.
Right.
Go on Uphold. It's super easy. Yeah, you got your debit card, all that stuff. DCA Casper. Or VPN $9 a month and like go on to Mexi, DCA,
Right.
like that. You're saving money and you're buying more crypto. So if you're an old person and you need it to be easy, go ahead, fine. But come on, guys. Like, if you are part of the crypto charge community, Mexi VPN. That's it. We
Right.
won't
It's a good combo.
accept anyone else. Okay. Hims3 says, how can we trust companies issuing tokenized stocks or assets? FTX issued tokenized stocks, which turned out to be fraud.
So I'd like a source on that, brother, because I don't know what the hell you're talking about. When we talk about tokenized stocks, you guys are probably picturing it in a different capacity, right? When you have stocks right now, right, like they're already kind of like this digital representation of ownership, right? But it's the settlement of those assets that can be tokenized, and that's really where tokenization comes in, right? Because at the end of the day, you have all these exchanges, right, or TD Ameritrade or E-Trade or whatever you're using for your stock brokerage, right? And they're using the traditional legacy systems in order to settle all those payments at the end of the day, right? So they have to like shore up their books at the end of each day, and that's done using wires, ACH, right? They have all these mediums of payment that are coming in and out, people buying, people selling, people depositing fresh monies, people setting up new trades, right? So all of this liquidity needs to be settled. When you have stocks that are potentially backed on rails like XRP, like Algorand, like Matty, right? It doesn't really matter. We can think of any solution that we like that is cheap, fast, and efficient, right? And you layer those stocks, right? Maybe you tokenize them, meaning you make them into smart contracts, you turn them into NFTs. There's a variety of different ways you can quote unquote tokenize something. And then that essentially efficientizes the way that we're able to do business, right? Because instead of me having to, for example, fill out some paperwork and transfer my Disney stock from my TD Ameritrade over to my E-Trade account, or maybe I want to gift somebody some stocks, right? And I want to gift them 1,000 shares of Disney, right? That can take upwards of like a week or two in order to transfer. Now, it's gotten better and it's gotten faster, but if you have these shares tokenized on blockchains, we can do instantaneous transfers to other accounts of securities, right? Which we've never been able to do previously. So again, I really cannot think of a single stock that FTX tokenized unless you're referring to FTT and you're trying to say that the FTT token was stock, which it was not. It did not give you any ownership in FTX, and that was very overt from the get-go. And the big difference in that, right, is that you had individuals who invested monies directly into FTX and owned 0 FTT tokens, right? Very, very big difference there. So I think that a lot of you guys are getting caught up in the semantics of it and confusing two things, because FTX never tokenized stocks and turned out to be fraud. I think that you're kind of mushing things together there.
Stuart Ashton 4704 says, maybe do a video how to stake and ways to stake API3.
So staking's pretty easy, guys. Obviously, again, I want you guys to be very careful where you guys do stake stuff. There's a lot of sites out there that are very predatory. I've even had some calls with people recently where unfortunately they didn't do any research and they wanted to take the easy way out, thinking that it's better to let somebody else manage your money, which, by the way, guys, there's not a single money manager out there right now that is licensed to profit share with you on behalf of trading crypto or NFT products, right? That's not something that's even accessible. So anyone who's doing that is doing that under the table or as like a friends or family thing. And again, still, just make sure you're doing your due diligence. There's a lot of people who want to take advantage.
The SEC's gonna get you.
Right. I hope so. I sure hope so. Right. I mean, and some of these websites are absolutely garbage. Right. One of them I heard was Coinbase-VIP. Somebody I know deposited over $1 million into this exchange. It's all gone. NFT-Precious. I mean, come on, guys. Just use your heads here. Look at the website. Does it look wonky? So just make sure when you first of all go to stake that you're staking in the native pool, and there will also be copycat websites that will look like they're the native pool. Google does their very, very best to try to let you know, like, hey, this is redirecting you to a site that's not this, but sometimes they go up and sometimes they're up there very quick and they don't get them right away. So when you're doing something like API3 with Casper, make sure you're using the correct websites. Most of those staking pool resources can be found on those actual websites, right? On the API3 website, on the Casper network website, right? When we look at the API3 DAO tracker here, it tells us right now that the rewards are roughly 5.5%. They were obviously a lot higher, and these fluctuate based on TVL or total value locked. So right now, you guys can see that out of the total token supply, 95 million or so, about 30 or almost 31 million of those tokens are locked up right now, right? So like about a third of the supply right now is completely locked for API3, which is a good thing. The other thing that you need to consider with API3 is that your rewards are locked for 1 year. Okay, so you deposit today, you can start to unbond at any time, you can get your original deposit back, but those rewards will not be available for 1 year. Why would they do this? It incentivizes people who truly believe in the network to leave their tokens in there longer to preserve the integrity of the network, right? If you really believe in API3, you're okay getting your rewards a year from now, right? And those again are continuously paid out on a 1 year from that date of compounding moving forward. The other thing to consider is the bonding and unbonding period, right? So you contribute your tokens, and you can do this two different ways. You can connect your MetaMask wallet, or you can connect a external cold storage wallet like a Ledger device. So if you guys own a Ledger device, which again I think is a non-negotiable when it comes to crypto investing, especially if you plan on doing this for a while, right? It's such a small fee in the grand scheme of things, ultimate security, self-custody, and then the ability to stake and use that key as your security measure, right? Because a lot of people get irritated when they're doing staking and stuff because they're like, oh, I got to sign up for this wallet and this wallet. They have all these extensions floating on their thing, right? Versus having a cold storage device and being able to use that as your key to sign in and move things around, right? So those are the two ways you could do it. I would highly recommend going with Ledger. Back to the unbonding period though, we talked about that. So when you want to take your coins back out, there's a 7-day unbonding period. And this is why I tell you guys, do your research, because I can't tell you people who have staked stuff up and then they don't go back and read oh, why aren't my tokens available? Because you didn't read the rules about bonding and unbonding. Casper has its own set of rules, and every ecosystem can set their own set of rules about how long it takes for those tokens to go from the pool or the node that you're staked with back into your wallet. It's 7 days, okay? So don't think that you can drop them in there in the peak of a bull run and then you see a 300% pop and then you're irritated you can't get your tokens back out, right? So just plan accordingly here as you start to see price appreciate, maybe start to unbond some of the portion that you want to tranche out and ladder out with. But that's how you go about staking API3. Again, that API will fluctuate based on TVL. But again, some interest is better than no interest, especially when you're in a native pool solution.
From man to kings. Oh, manly name. You guys ever look into token allocation?
Token allocation. I actually have no idea what you're talking about. Maybe you're referring to our allocation of what we're talking about with our own portfolios. Are you talking about the tokenomics of projects, which we definitely do take a look into, right? We want to make sure, what's given to developers, what's given to the team, how much is released to the public, what pre-sale those, tokens were given at, what prices those were at, what those lockup periods are for those pre-sales, and how much of that could be dumped onto the market, right? Diving into tokenomics is a very important portion of it, right? Let's say that 40% of the tokens are given to the team. Right? That's kind of a scary zone to be in, because now you're at the mercy of these developers and other people who are being paid essentially heavily in this token that they're not going to dump on you when their unlock period comes, right? Now, of course, there's a variety of projects that have a fair amount of team allocation, and I understand why they do it, right? Because, you have these developers that used to making 120, 200K, 250K a year. Maybe you're a startup and you can't afford all that, but you can give them 100K plus we'll give you this much in tokens, right? And they see the long-term value in the project. That's good for them. You just don't want to see this oversaturation of team distribution versus what's available otherwise, right? And if some of this has to go to research and development, some has to go to other sections, right? You can't just expect that these developers are going to work for free, but you just want to make sure that there's some balance within those tokenomics.
Well, great stuff, Matty. Damn, you hammered all of those questions out. A lot of good stuff. You guys have been loving the Ask Matty show. It's been a fun part of my week, and I know it has been for you, Matt. Last show was a banger. You guys loved those tier lists. But something that just caught me off guard, Matty, is all of these ICP people. And I just want to talk about this from my perspective for a second. These people are so, and I get it. People get really passionate about a project, Matt. But the thing is a lot of ICP, it's vertical, is very speculative. Like, you're looking deep into the future with ICP, and you are trying to bet on this asset. And I look at ICP a lot of how maybe you would look at Energy Web Token. Like, maybe it's its own worst enemy, really, you know?
Right.
And I have to say this because, like, look at this. Like, because I think there's like 3 different types of crypto investors, Matty. It goes from all the way, think of it like a spectrum. You got Bitcoin all the way to maybe baby Floki billionaire. You know, you got your strong guaranteed crypto, and then you got it all on the other spectrum, all speculative, all the way to baby Floki. And here's where the 3 different types of investors come in, Matt. You got your people, you got your Bitcoin and Ethereum people. Now, you've seen your Bitcoin maxis, your Ethereum maxis. But the majority of those people, Matt, that are these like coming from stock to crypto are really leveraging Bitcoin and Ethereum. They are leaning on Bitcoin and Ethereum. And then you have people like me and Matty here that land like, you got Bitcoin, Ethereum, then you got like Cardano, Matic, and then you land on us, right? We're here. Payment solutions, you got like XRP, XLM, you got like different verticals, different plays like API3. All of these kind of mushed right in here, right? And us right here is kind of like, think of Moneyball, Matty. We are Moneyball.
Right.
We are constructing a roster of diamonds in the rough. Now, notice the word I just used there, diamonds. Diamonds. We're looking for projects with fundamentals that are just, overlooked, undervalued. You heard the whole Jonah Hill speech in the movie. But that's kind of what we're going after, Matty.
Right.
But then I noticed, like, with these recent shows we've been doing, there's these people that go past, like, beyond, right? And so you got, like, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Cardano, Matic, you get us, XRP, API3, and then you get towards the end, right? Maybe a little bit like leaning on speculation. You got Zcash, you got Energy Web Token, What does the future hold for them? I don't know. Your guess is just as good as mine. You got privacy and you got the energy sector, right? Both dominating in their own verticals. Anything else past that, you're not part of Crypto Charge. You're talking meme coins. Once you go past that, you're talking about full-on speculation. And that's not what we do here, Matt. That is not, we don't speculate. If you want to gamble, go to stake.com and gamble away your ETH at a crypto casino. But that's not what we do here. We're looking for those diamonds in the rough, projects that are overlooked, so that we can invest in the next Ethereum. You know what I'm saying, Matt?
Right.
Do you agree with any of that? Because I've just that really fired me up last week. Because if you're going to invest in ICP, I would invest in ICP like Matty invests in Energy Web Token. Matty, you got like 1% of your portfolio in Energy
1%
Web.
allocation. It's a pretty small vertical. Yeah, I would say it's a pretty small amount that I'm invested in. Again, the bag for me is as good as is. I talked about the situation where I would potentially add to that position, if it was presented, but it's not going to be as heavily. I think that I know where my dollars need to be allocated. And I think it comes down to having a game plan for yourself and not chasing the next shiny new thing, right? And it's so easy to do. In the bull market, you're not going to hear me talking about, hey, you guys should start building a long-term position in this new project right now, right? We could talk about trade ideas. We can talk about, hey, this new asset emerged, it popped here, here's where the previous resistance was, let's try to snag an entry here, leverage long and try to make some money on it. But I think that too many people get excited by price and they're willing to overlook not a handful, but all the fundamentals, right? I think the Hex community is probably actually the bigger example than this compared to ICP right now, is that, we did a review on Hex over a year and a half ago. We talked about Richard Hart, we talked about the tokenomics of the project, we talked about all the flaws on the website, right? And all that came to be true, right? Because now Richard Hart's been indicted for fraud, right? Not just for, selling unregistered securities, like straight up taking the money that you guys put into the project that's supposed to be locked up in a CD style product, right? And spending it on Lamborghinis and Louis Vuitton and rings and jewelry and all this crap, right? And then there's still this huge community because they've been saturated by crackheads like Bitboy, right? That tell us that Hex is the next best thing, right? And it turns out that it's a complete Ponzi scheme, right? And it's just a matter of time before price starts to reflect that, right? It's down 99.999% from its all-time high right now. And I don't think that's just because of bear market activity, right? I think that a lot of that has to do with what we've actually seen with the project, the developments come out, and then people unwilling to change their mindset about what's happening, even though the facts are in front of them. And some of you guys might say, well, Matt, you sat through 3 years of a Ripple case, right? SEC Ripple, and that could have been really, really bad, right? But we already knew the facts of the case, right? We had a company backing this that had $1 billion in reserves and that does business in over 50 different countries, right? You're going to compare this to Hex? You're going to compare this to Richard Hart, right? It just doesn't make sense. And we ended up being incredibly right about that, right? So, I'll eat my words if Richard Hart gets off scotch-free in this, but I don't think he does. I think he pays huge fines. I think that he gets in very big trouble, and I think the Hex ecosystem is in very big trouble. So, this is what it comes down to with being married to your assets on both sides, right? Seeing your asset do so well that you want to stay married, but then also feeling like you've been invested so long that you just can't let go and you don't want to get that divorce with your assets. Yep. They're just assets. You have to be able to let go on both sides of the spectrum, right? I was really wrong about this, let go. I was really right about this, let's let go, right? Either which way, you have to be willing to let go. So that's just one of the sentiments I hope you guys take away from this episode.
Matty, that was a good thing you said, because you have to let go of your assets at some point. And I got to tell you, Matty, these people think they're going to sell all 20 of their assets. Matty, how many assets do you have right now that you're holding in your portfolio?
I think it's about 12. 12 assets.
Okay, I'm holding about 6, and I'm telling you right now, I'm stressing about selling in the bull run right there of 6 assets. And I'm heavily in crypto like you are, Matty. I'm with you on the day-to-day. And these people think they're going to sell 20 assets? Are you kidding me? I'm thinking about 6 times 3 price targets. I have to say 18 price targets, Matty. I'm going to have to take, bull run starts going. Let's take my crypto onto exchange. All right. Sell target limit orders. Boom, boom, boom. All right. Let's see if they hit. Like, I'm stressing about that in the bull run. And you guys are trying to do that with 20 cryptos? No, you can't. That can't be. And Matty, I can name like 20, 30. You could too, about cryptos you would invest in before ICP. Assets like XRP that are being used by a company. Like, we got, what happens, Matty, is that we have gone so, we've been so pro of these new cryptos. People look at you and they have ICP, and they look at you and see with Casper, and they're like, oh, this asset is new. Matty would probably feel me too. Nah, wrong. Guys, I got to be honest here, because if you start at Bitcoin, Ethereum, we sometimes trash the people that only go for Bitcoin and Ethereum, but I'm honestly start to feel with them a little bit more the more we get into these people that are just going all speculation. Like, we're not speculation here. We're diamonds in the rough, and if you want to invest in Bitcoin and Ethereum, that's fine. We're just looking for those diamonds in the rough, projects that are building and that are going to do great in the bull run, but not this speculation crap. And I'm sorry if I went off, Matty. I know
you actually bring up a good point there. And I think that when we think about the Bitcoin and Ethereum maxis, right, it's almost this group of people that have become so risk adverse because they've seen what's happened with the meme coins and they see everything else out there, that they make this assumption that there isn't a middle ground in small caps that become large caps, and that reward can be exponentially better, right? So I think that it's scary on both ends, where you have like the maxis who are like guaranteed winners and I won't ever deviate from this, but then you also have this other group of people who are like 1,000x or nothing. People are not willing to accept that like a 10x is freaking incredible, right? Like, you have to understand that the opportunities and the gains that you're being presented are huge. And just because you have a smaller amount of money doesn't mean you should only chase the potential 1,000x's. It's always possible, but you know what? I probably won't even hold my assets in to see if we got 1,000x, except for my long-term holds, right? So just try to find that middle ground. Understand that there's a lot to these projects. There's a lot about this technology you should learn about, right? Understand that it's a good idea to invest in learning about the fundamentals of the technology, even if it doesn't directly make you money today, right? Because that's the stuff that helps you quickly, differentiate between a good and a bad project, is when you actually understand DLT and blockchain, right? I think there's a good portion of investors out there that have zero idea about how the mechanics of crypto works, but then they're going to go and give these hard opinions about this project and that project, right? So spend some time on your education, and that's one of the big things that we do at Crypto Charge, is give you guys bite-sized pieces of everything every day. The macro, the fundamentals of what we're investing in, the technical analysis, and then of course kind of the daily news, right? How's the regulatory landscape progressing, right? And getting a little bit of exposure every single day makes that task a little less daunting. It makes you a lot more confident in your overall long-term plan with investing.
Yep, we don't speculate over at Crypto Charge. We look at the facts and then we make decisions. That's it. So if you want to be a part of that community, you can join us at Crypto Charge. Click the link in the pinned comment below. And if you don't want to be a part of it, go over there. That's fine. Hey, if come over here. Yeah, we can talk about, your cryptos that, you want to speculate over. It's fun. It's fun, Matty. It's fun for these people. But what's going to be even more fun? When I'm making a ton of money next bull run off.
That's what it's all about. It's about making money, right? It's not about who's the biggest cheerleader for this ecosystem. It's about making money at the end of the day. And of course, compounding that and making more money the next cycle.
Yeah. And not even to mention, Matty, you have to sell all these. Like, you're going to have to, good luck. Yep. Good luck with all that. So
sell it all.
Good luck, guys, if you guys are going to stay over there. But if you want to become one of us, join the community, pin comment down below. Matty, I think I definitely ranted enough, more than I should have. But we gave a lot of good facts here, Matty. And team, we will see you next week. Adios.